I've tried and quit a lot of things in my life. Playing in an adult kickball league, reading Anna Karenina, dating musicians. But I haven't always had the courage to be a quitter until I found myself on the other side of the world, facing the repercussions of a quarter-life crisis. In 2018, I was living in Philadelphia, and I was fresh off of a breakup with a guy who had voted for Mitt Romney in 2012. And not unlike a lot of 27-year-olds at the time, I was feeling directionless. I was working at a dead-end job in public relations. So after a few Google searches, I decided to take the next most logical step in my life. I was going to move to Korea to teach English to children. The application process was 6 months long, but eventually I quit my job, I rehoused my cat, and I learned Korean. 안녕하세요. Then I started to get these headaches, and I was having a lot of trouble sleeping at night. I was starting to have some doubts about my international plans. Fast forward to a week before my big move, and I'm in Costco with my dad. Think Tony Soprano, except he's 5'8" and has a PhD in chemistry. And he's never killed anyone, to my knowledge. But we're in Costco, and I'm buying a year's supply of deodorant because someone told me that they don't sell it in Korea. And I still don't know if that's true, but all of a sudden, my dad turns to me in the deodorant aisle, and he says, "I think what you're doing is really cool and really brave. I mean, it's nuts, but I'm proud of you." Now, I'm sure my dad had been proud of me in the past, but he definitely had never said it out loud. So I was like, shit, no turning back now. And I threw 7 packs of Dove Clinical Strength antiperspirant into my cart. Shortly after arriving in Korea, they stuck all of the teachers onto this bus, and they drove us 3 hours to the middle of nowhere. We had to go through this week-long orientation at a college campus that was surrounded by mountains, completely desolate. It was literally the most terrifying place I had ever been. It was also the dead of winter, and there was no heat in the classroom buildings. And the pollution was so bad that we had to wear masks everywhere we went before it was cool. But the worst part was that I hadn't slept. It had been 48 hours. And the next night, I laid awake in my rock-hard dorm room bed, listening to my roommate yammer on about the state of Florida. And the next night, I stayed awake, and the next, and the next. And by day 6, at 4 a.m., I walked down to the dormitory lobby, and under the fluorescent lights, I called my mom. And between my sobs, she said the 2 words that I most needed to hear: come home. So I walked upstairs, I bought a plane ticket to Philadelphia, and I packed my bags. The next day, I had my last meal in Korea, a cheesy gordita crunch combo at the Taco Bell in Incheon International Airport, and it was delicious. And 30 hours later, I was back in Philly. It was like I had never left, except I suddenly had no job, no apartment, and no plans for the future. And things were really shitty for a long time after that. I moved in with my parents. I started working at Trader Joe's, and I had debilitating insomnia for months, so I could use some of that slothness. But I never regretted leaving Korea, and actually I never regretted going in the first place, because it taught me that it's okay to try things and to fail fast. I knew that whatever dumb or bad situation I found myself in the future, I had the power to get myself out of it. I've quit a lot of things since then. A dream job in media that turned out to be really toxic. A relationship with someone I was in love with who couldn't give me what I needed. So it turns out that moving to Korea was not the coolest, bravest thing I've ever done, but learning when to quit definitely was.